Hello world, how are you? We have some Q&A to do. I hope you're doing fine, 'cause it's Q&A time again. Hello world, how's it going? Hope you guys are all doing great. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. So welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A. Keeping freshwater fish, plants, shrimp, pretty much everything to do with keeping fresh water. So, welcome everybody if you have not been here, and welcome back everybody that has. And I see some awesome people in the chat already. Hello everybody, hello. Well, thank you 305 Richie Rich, I appreciate that. Let me get out of top chat here too. YouTube always sticks us in top chat. Get into live chat here. What's up, Matt? Glad to see you in here. Glad to see you all. So, man, this week's been pretty crazy on my end. I was trying to hammer out daily videos for you guys, but that did not happen because I just could not keep up with things. I think this is going to sit at a slant. I'll just hold it up. But yeah, Wesley ended up getting sick, and he wasn't feeling well all week, and we were catching up from last week's orders because of Thanksgiving. We didn't want to ship anything out and risk any fish, so. But we're all caught up now. Finally getting some videos out for you again. Getting them rolling. Hopefully I can get the world's smallest nano tank for you guys, too. It's a fun little project. Lars K, thank you so much for the support, brother. I really appreciate it. Throwing down a $10 super chat. Always great to see you in here, Lars. I hope everything's been well with you. And I hope everybody's tank's doing well as well. I'm definitely ready for the weekend, for sure. If you guys didn't see the Fishocracy video I put out today, I didn't know if I was going to put that out today or just hold on to it, but I didn't want to wait too long before I released it because I was already sitting on it for a while. So I just went ahead. But that's the tank. That's the Fishocracy tank behind me. If you guys have seen that. Don Gallagher says, what's your thoughts on dirted tanks? Dirt tanks are great. You can use them. I've actually grabbed dirt from my backyard, which is in a suburb, but we don't use fertilizer. It's still kind of wooded back there. There's trees, and nobody actually has built a lawn back there. So I ended up using dirt from that, and it worked pretty good. You do want to cap it. It helps to cap it. You don't have to cap it. It can settle. But if you have any type of like cory cats or anything like that in that tank, it'll just kick it up and it'll get everywhere. It'll muck up the water really bad. Plecos too, they'll kick up stuff. Pandagars, loaches, most of the bottom dwelling fish. So if you do have dirt and you don't want to have to worry about that, then I do recommend sand. Which even the Corydoras will still sift mulm and stuff out of the sand. But if you have a filter or something like that to help pick up that mulm, then it'll help. I don't usually use filters, but filters are good for that, like water polishing and whatnot, for sure. Let's see. I saw there was a troll and I just saw his name. That's hilarious. I don't even know if I have any mods in here right now, but that is funny. Let's see. I watched Father Fish after watching the video from your channel. Awesome. Yeah, check out Father Fish. He's a cool dude. Really down to earth. Really into the natural side of keeping fish and everything in aquariums. Beast Heart says, Pearlweed I got from you is doing well. Any similar plants you are selling? I am looking for something easy. So Beast Heart, most of the plants that I keep and sell are like really easy. Besides the HC. HC is the baby tears. That's the only one that is really a demanding plant that I sell. Lymphnophilia aromatica can kind of be tricky. Besides that, most all the other ones, they're pretty legit. Like, everything's like really easy to keep. Because I don't put anything extra in my tanks. I'm not running filters. I do fert my tanks. I do feed them. But but I'm not like using any crazy light or CO2 or anything like that. But glad to hear that Pro Weed's doing good. Ohio Fish Rescue. Here, I can mod him, I think. It's been forever since I did anything like that. Oh yeah, I did it. Whoop whoop. Stephen Conroe, how is he not a mod? Usually I don't need mods. And careful with your mod privileges too. I'm not a big believer in censorship, so as long as they're not being real stupid, I don't care so much. All right, Mickey M says, how many tubs in your garden this spring? So hopefully, like I have the 4, but hopefully I'll have a lot more. I haven't really counted them out because I haven't created this whole space yet to get a real good feel of how big it's actually going to be and exactly what I'm going to put in there too. Because I do have some bigger systems. I'm still torn between like the size of my systems and the whole layout. I got a good idea of how I want to do it too though. But it all actually come to fruition when I actually do it. I try not to like over analyze like certain things like that until it actually comes up. Kind of like go with the flow kind of guy, I guess. Michael Michaelage, always great to see you in here, brother. I hope everything's good with you. Throwing down the $15 super chat, I appreciate it. Says, hey brother, sorry I missed the last couple of chats. Been absolutely insane on my end. Hope you're all healed up and gotten the fishocracy under control. Something to help the cause. Well, thank you so much, brother. And yeah, I'm healed up from that. I had to pretty much give myself physical therapy just to get like motion back in my arm. Just every day I just kept pushing it, and then now I finally got my arm back to working order, which is nice. And yeah, still got a few scars, but I appreciate it. And also the fishocracy, it's still like the dynamics are changing. Like I should have made a video on it yesterday. I should have made a video on it today because things were getting all different and weird and fun, but I unfortunately was not in the circumstance to where I could actually capture them. Sushi Berry, LRB, are you Team Hillstream or Team Barb? Oh, that's a tough question. Sushi Berry, coming out with a real hardcore question. So, if you don't know what she's talking about, the hill trouts, they're a part of the fishocracy, and then the barbs, which are Dawkinsia assimilis, they're part of another team. I don't know, the mascara barbs have always had a big part of my heart. So if I had to choose one over another, like to get rid of them, I would probably have to go Team Barb, just because they've been near and dear to my heart for longer than the hill trouts, I would say. It's a tough choice though, because those hill trouts are really, really sweet. I don't think I'd ever get rid of them, but definitely have to change the tank. If it gets like too crazy in there, I don't know, maybe eventually we'll switch some things up in there. Like it doesn't really get like you see the barbs playing and stuff, it doesn't like get real aggressive anymore to where they're actually hurting each other, so I don't worry too much. But if they do, I'd probably take the barbs out just so I could breed them for sure. But good question. Rich C says, do you plan on adding new fish to the website anytime soon? So as far as fish, I kind of cooled down on them during the winter time just because I don't want to risk like sending my babies to the death, because if like an airplane gets held up on an airstrip, something like that, it can turn out really bad. So I'll probably wait till spring till I start adding like rainbow fish or anything too crazy. Now I do still have like dwarf neons on there. Maybe some pencil fish. We may have sold the pencil fish. I know I still got some in a tank. And it also depends too on how tight money gets, because sometimes I do have to just throw things up there just so I can pay bills too. Unfortunately. That stuff doesn't just fall from the sky. Is it good or bad to keep 4 males and 4 female electric blue rams in a 65-gallon, or should I keep them apart? What would be best? I think that's all right to keep Bass Head 30. Like, it definitely helps to have like some separation within the tank, whether it be plants. A lot of people tell me that with this barb tank, as far as like to maybe split up the way that they react, is to put in like more dividers, whether it be hardscape, driftwood, rocks, plants, decoration, whatever, just to kind of create territories and areas for them to just hang out. Like this group will have that group, this spot, this group will have that spot. But I don't know too, sometimes that could make things more territory as well. So you got to kind of read the community, read the fish. As long as you're not seeing much aggression from them in that tank, then you should be all right. But once you do see like signs of aggression, maybe put some things in there to divide things. If that makes things worse, then maybe go a different route. And if it makes things better, then great. I really don't want to put anything in this tank to divide these guys up, because I know it'll kind of like mess up the community and how it interacts right now. A lot of people think the barbs are suppressed. Like, they may be kind of like, they're not that alpha as a fish. The hill streams are, or the hill trouts. So it's just not really their nature to be over the top of the hill trouts, but they still don't like mind them. Matthew Fott, thank you so much for $20 super chat, brother. I appreciate that. Didn't even say anything, just being supportive. That is super awesome of you, Matthew. Hope everything's been great with you, and great to see you in here too. Scylla MKR, what's up? See, Nocturnal Aquarium says, Lucas, I'm going to ask my wife to help me move another fish tank stand up to the office after this. 20 more gallons coming soon. Hopefully she hears you read this. Well, I hope she hears it too, because now she knows. I hope you get her help, bro. I hope you get her help. All right. And sorry if I missed your guys' questions. I go cross-eyed reading this sometimes. So that's why sometimes you'll see like one eye looking one way and one eye looking the other. So I'm scrolling. And I am at the bottom of the chat, so if you do got a question, now is the time to throw it down there. Must be in top chat. D, I'm not in top chat. I did change it. I did remember this time. I just must not have seen it. But Matt Sorelli, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that, Matt Sorelli. Any way to remove scuds from a shrimp tank? Thank you. Oh, man. That's really tough to do. So I've been in a similar situation, and it's actually when I learned a lot about tanks. Like, I actually turned the shrimp and scud tank into a compost tank. This was like, I think one of my, like when I first got on YouTube, it was really terrible video, real cheesy. But it's kind of cool substance. I actually had turned that tank into a compost tank, just seeing if I could kill the scuds and maybe keep the shrimp or whatever. I was throwing carrots in there, celery, potatoes, orange peels, bananas, like you name it, cabbage. There's actually celery that was floating, like the celery stalk. It was literally floating on the top of the water and growing celery up and out of the tank, which was cool. It was kind of like a celery island. But the scuds loved it. I actually had some baby fish, some Goldie-eyed Kai rainbows in there, just to see how they would do. They were getting big. They were eating everything. Yeah, aquariums maintained by Andy says like making stew. Pretty much. I made the, turned the tank into a soup, and I mean, everything still liked it. But anyways, to get rid of the scuds, that did not work. I pretty much had to put fish in there, take out what shrimp I could, save them, make sure that there was no scuds hanging on to any of those shrimp too, because sometimes scuds will hang on to those shrimp. But you're gonna pretty much have to take out the shrimp you can, and then add in some fish, and those fish will pretty much have to take over that tank for a long time unless you just absolutely tear it down and redo it. But it's a good food source too. I don't know how many tanks you're working with, so if you got a fish room, maybe just even grow out the scuds if you have just fish tanks. But yeah, once you get them mixed in with the shrimp, it becomes really, really hard to get them out, for sure. So you do got to be careful with that. I wish I had a better answer for you, easier answer, but there's really not any. I tried all kinds of things. All right. When are we going to see Father Fish? He's wanting you to go down, Amateur Aquatics. Yeah, he mentioned coming down, doing some talks over at the clubs down there near Venice, Florida, which would be absolutely awesome. I think like in June or April or something like that. We'll see. He's supposed to send an email. We're going to nail down a time, but I would love to go down there, just chat with him, pick his ear, and check out the place. And you know I'm going to have to bring some videos for you guys. Now I know there's questions because I've seen some. Nocturnal Aquarius says, LRB Aquatics, if time permits, would you be game for a multi-YouTuber collection filming road trip? Talking with a couple people, probably won't be until next year. Well, definitely hit me up, Nocturnal Aquarius. I would be interested, possibly. We'll see how it rolls out on my calendar, and we can go from there. Guppy Gang Aquatics. Gang. LRB Aquatics wants some of those green barbs that you saw at Danikin Aquatics Fish House. Have the other 6 from that spawn. So yeah, Guppy Gang Aquatics, those green tiger barbs, those things were fire. Those things were lit. I remember looking at that tank. There were some really cool fish, a lot of cool fish in that tank, but those things really popped just with the color and the contrast. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's from Danikin Aquatics Fish Room Tour that I recently put out like maybe a few weeks ago. When I went out to Portland, he has like 8 or 9 sections of tanks. Like they have a ton of tanks, a ton of cool fish. Let's see, D. Kirk Bride says, I've been breeding my CPDs using sink and spawning mops and the musical fish method, but I am struggling to see more than a couple of fry. How would you recommend that increase the fry numbers? So, okay, with CPDs and the, okay, let me just get to this. When you do the musical fish method, the number count for some fish just won't be that high. Like with rainbow fish, they just scatter their eggs all day long for most of the species, most of the common species, especially Melanitania. Now, Chilinothernias, they don't usually, and Glossolepis don't usually lay as many eggs either, depending on the type again. But you can get clouds with them. But with the CPDs, if you really want to, here, I'll flip you over. If you really want to get more numbers with them, same with tetras too. When you're just doing the musical fish, we won't get a whole lot out of them, because nature's kind of just taking its course. But what I use is a cup like this, and I put like a moss in there. You can even do like the spawning mop. I prefer like moss myself, but you know, if you want to do it the other way, that's fine. And then I'll put in my group in here, and then they'll go in there, lay eggs. And every other day I can check that cup, and there'll be eggs at the bottom, and then I'll just dump that into one of my other tanks, or however you do your baby fish, or however you raise them. Actually planning on making some really cool stuff for raising fry, and actually build a whole nursery kind of section for production here in the future. Something different too, some people ain't really doing, at least not in the hobby that I see, not around here. But yeah, use that cup. That way you can just gather them up easier, target breed them, and target capture them. Kinda, that's what you call them. I got some crazy hair. Always got crazy hair. Whatever. You guys didn't come to see my pretty hair anyway. Aquarium's maintained by Andy. Thank you so much for a $2 super chat. It says white cloud eggs got coated with white fungus. Help. Oh, that's no good. So yeah, unfortunately, sometimes they could either be infertile, so that's why they'll turn white. I learned if you try to keep the water too clean, they'll turn white. A lot of people, they like to use, what is that stuff? There's some blue stuff. Maybe somebody help me in the chat. I can't remember it now. Oh man, But anyways, some people use medicines and stuff. I like to use natural tank water, so I'll get some of the like dirty mommy water, and that stuff actually helps fight against the fungus. So does if you add like a catappa leaf. I don't like to use the meds myself. So maybe try doing it in a more natural approach. I don't know how you're approaching gathering the eggs and where you're putting them, or how they're actually being gathered. Those are some food for thought. Kayla Aquatics, Lucas, what's new on the website? Nothing real new right now. But there's still a ton on there. Actually, I did add volcano guppies on there, so that's new to the website from this week. LRB Aquatics, zoom in the red rainbow behind you, please. The red rainbow behind me. I don't have any red rainbows behind here. I've got like one down here. Methane blue. That's what it is. Thank you. Thank you. I have some red ones down here, but I don't have any. Got this Dorothy eye. He's missing a gill cover. But I didn't want to kill and call him, so he lives here. Because he's a trooper. He is a trooper. Lucas, you add yourself to the website. I did, kind of. I got a tip jar, fish trapping. That'd be kind of expensive. Shipping mostly. I weigh a little bit. Alright, scrolling up. I know I saw more questions up there. Ever had any problems with using expired fish foods? Oops. Got some old Hikari shrimp cuisine, just dry pellets. I didn't even think they could go bad. So I've actually never done it, but you know, it's just like anything. If we were to eat rancid food ourselves, or anything would eat rancid food, it could cause problems with the body, gut and digestion, just like fish. I don't think it would be absolutely kill all. Especially if you notice it, maybe give them a nice clean diet to kind of push through it if you did feed it to them. But definitely, fish food's not that expensive, so definitely get something new and try to push out whatever you fed to them out of them quicker than later. Pseudo and Isis, so yes, the fake Millennium Orange Rainbow, which is actually just the xanthic form. That's the male, and then the females are actually yellow. She's got something up with her skin in the back, though. I don't know what that is. Just like a pigmentation issue, looks like, because there's nothing sticking out of it. But look at those eyes, they're crazy, they glow. So I take eggs out and dip in the blue. No, I want to do that. Some people do that. I don't do that. I just put them in a dirty, moldy tank. I get like the dirty, nasty stuff out of that. Or, well, people consider that dirty and nasty. But I get that dirt, that good beneficial bacteria out of that sponge thing. Or just even water out of this tank, which isn't that clean. And then put them in with that. Now, you do want to try to maybe stay away from the proteins and biofilms. But over here where it's kind of spread, you're not going to get any of that. Which, even that stuff's probably not bad because it can naturally coat the egg and everything. So when you over clean your eggs and you treat them like something that can't grow out in nature and needs all your help and love and nurture, then it does cause a problem, and it opens up their their coat. Like, there's a coating around the egg, just like on fish's bodies, the membrane. It can make them more susceptible to funguses and other things coming into them. But when you keep them in their natural, biologically sound water, then that's what they're used to. That's what Mother Nature's used to. That's what the egg's used to. That's what their skin's used to. Then you can just do it naturally and easily. Actually save you a lot of time and effort too. Nick Buds, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, Nick Buds. It says, should blue Rileys from a Bloody Mary strain be mixed with blue red Rileys coming from a blue velvet strain? I mean, you can mix them because they're not going to breed out like 100%. The blue red Rileys won't. But the more you work them with each other, then you can. Now, I don't know if that'll actually deepen the pool. Actually, I think, yeah, it actually probably would be best to do that, because instead of getting the same blue-red Rileys from just the Bloody Mary and breeding those, which you're already starting in with some inbreeding and interbreeding, then it would be best to mix the blue velvet strain as well. That way it could deepen it with less interbreeding and inbreeding. So I'd say go for it, because most of those lines usually don't. Sometimes when you buy like the imports and stuff, they won't breed true. Now there are some that do breed true lines out there if you really dig deep. No, back on Facebook you used to be able to, but I don't even think they can sell that stuff anymore. I'm not sure. I don't Facebook much these days. Are you watching the boxing tomorrow? I know you like martial arts, so I don't keep up with it. I do like martial arts, though. How did you know that? Do I talk about that? I don't think I talk about that much. Matter of fact, let's see. Scrolling. I think I am close. Nick Buzz, thank you again for the $2 super chat. Said thank you. Well, you are welcome, man. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Nick Whittycar says, any reason why it might be hard to find breed-specific female guppies at fish stores? Yes. At least in my area, I've only found general plain female guppies. Yes, so the main reason why they do that is because they don't want you breeding them. So they'll get them from the import wholesale list, and most of the time they'll just have the males of all the real nice ones for sale. And then you'll get like your feeder guppies, and that'll be the only females they really have. So they do that for a reason, so you don't breed them out and start offering the fish store their fish back for pretty much store credit, and then they don't or aren't able to sell wholesale to that fish store. So that's why it's kind of hard to find pairs on some things when it comes to guppies. And that's why, like, when you do buy pairs of guppies online and stuff like that, that's why they're more expensive, is because the female is actually more expensive than the male is, because the females are rare. 305 Richie Rich, thoughts on Aquabid quality on fish from breeders. So when it comes to Aquabid, I think it's great. You can find lots of fish, and there are some great breeders. For instance, Eric Bodrock's on there, Gary Lang's on there, some other people. Just be sure to do your research and look at the numbers and like the trade ratings or whatever they call them. They're a good place to find some stuff. There are some like international things. Might be more riskier than the more domestic things. See, what spot has super true breeding shrimp lines? PDX, interesting. You don't see fish stores have that very often. $54 Punchy says, I love those mascara barbs so much. Yeah, me too. They're pretty much awesome. Let's see, scrolling. How are your discus doing? Did I miss your updates? So they're doing all right. They're all doing good. Let me flip you guys over. Oh, well, no, I don't have to flip you guys over, but bring you guys over here. So the tank's all green because I'm pretty much left with this light on it because my Aqua Neat went out. So it was only my 2 shop lights back there, which are yellow tint, and it was just not enough light to keep the plants. So I gotta run this bad boy. So we're going to green water. These guys don't mind. They've been a little rambunctious with each other lately. Really getting on to this guy. I don't know how he become alpha all of a sudden. He kind of took over that guy in this tank, but they're all doing good. These guys, oh, matter of fact, we found some baby plecos in here. The other day when the light came on, we saw like 3 or 4 baby plecos in here. Because with the green water, like I got Congo tetras in here, I've got some catfish, I've got rainbow fish, I've got the discus. You know that it's just a snack form, but with the green water and the thickness of that, I was actually able to get some baby bristlenose from it. Check over here on the side, see if there is any. Nope, not seeing any. They're hungry. Feed me, feed me. I should probably feed them. But yeah, they're doing good. They're doing good. Can't wait to turn this into a something. What temp is this discus tank? So it's around, what is it right now? It's like 84, 82 in between here. Kind of hard to see with the lighting. But I got some 500 watt heaters in there. What's green water? Green water is actually, it's an algae. So whenever there's like excess of nutrients or light or radiation or whatever, ammonia is what they often say will trigger it. Which I know this isn't really ammonia trigger. A lot of times when organics break down in your tanks too, like the water column and algae will feed off that as well. And mixed with the highlight, it'll turn into green water, which is just like an algae molecule in the water. It does kind of look cool. I agree, Fish Tropic. I kind of like the look too. You know, a lot of people don't understand it though. It ain't the desired effect that I was going for either. Like, this was not intentional for me either. But there's like, I've got substrate lasagna going in there with like this stuff is like so nutrient rich. It's got regular dirt, Brightwell, Eco Complete, I believe. Some laterite. And the dirt actually had a lot of organics in it too because it came from my backyard. But D, thank you so much for the $25 super chat. That is awesome. You're awesome, D. It says, love the fishocracy is my fave. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy that because those videos really don't perform well for me. So, I don't know. I still want to do the series because I know a lot of you guys are loving it. So, I don't care what YouTube does or says. We'll still rock the fishocracy. Especially when you throw down super chats like that just telling me that you love it. Like that kind of support, that's amazing to see and absolutely awesome. So thank you, D. I like how some fish disappear when they swim away, right? You'll see them and then poof, they're gone into the abyss. Lucas, I have a line of guppies that have bred true for almost 2 years now and would like to sell them. Do you have any recommendations for someone new to selling fish, pricing, shipping, etc.? Leslie's Aquatics. So you got to kind of probe the market. When it comes to pairs, I don't know if you're like trying to come out with a new strain, what you got going. But if they are breeding true, and especially if they've been breeding true for 2 years, then go for it. Pairs, usually around $30, $40 a pair, depending on rarity, of course. And yeah, it depends on the look of them too, the want, the desire. The one thing about the rainbow tiger antlers I had on my side was just the colors that absolutely came out of them. Like, when people always saw that tank full of those rainbow tiger antlers, it always stopped them. So maybe have some people over, let them look at your fish room. And if they're like, oh, whoa, what are these? Maybe you might want to ask more. And it depends on how many you have, too. Some different things to put in the factor there. But if it's something that already exists, then just Google, act like you of them if you want to sell them. People will be like, but in actuality, online, I'm actually selling it cheaper than anybody else. And that's why I don't have sales, because I have sales every day. I give you the low price every day. And it's their money until next week. I mean, why should they get penalized for not having that money then and there? And I know sales kind of push profit too, and that's why companies do sales for the most part when it comes to business. Because it does push profits, but that's not my main drive. Don't get me wrong, money's great and it helps me get to where I want to go with this hobby and to bring you guys along with it. But my desire as far as like wants and stuff, other than fish, there's not really a whole lot there. So I don't really get into clothing and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. But I do get into some fish. Would like a big fish barn someday. Maybe a couple of them. Some greenhouses. I want to start a shrimp tank. What is the easy best way to start one? It says 305 Richie Rich. So if you want to start a shrimp tank, now depending on what kind of shrimp you get, mine this tank, I guess it didn't get scraped all the way. But it depends on what kind of shrimp you have. Definitely think about what water you have. Like if you have hard water, like we have hard tap water, so neocaridinias are great for tap water, hard tap water. And then you want caridinias. I don't really have much for shrimp in here. Actually, I got some shrimp down here. But if you want to get into caridinias, you're going to need soft, more acidic water for them to breed out. So definitely think about that. If you're going with softer water shrimp, I would lean towards like a Brightwell substrate, more acidic substrate. Also ADA is great. If you're going with the neocaridinias, then something inert like sand or Eco-Complete can be more alkalytic. Even the African cichlid mix. But the only thing about the African cichlid mix is how they display sometimes. But this is actually Brightwell. But my water is hard enough to buffer any of that acidity. There's actually some of the Indiana backyard dirt mixed in with Brightwell in this tank because it was just kind of a test. You can see some oranges in there. Nice mother up there, waving her babies. But that's the main thing to really focus on. And then once you set it up, get plants in there. Rock piles are great. They create a nursery for your shrimp. And because if you don't have this and you're constantly disturbing their space, they don't really have anywhere to hide. They're not going to feel comfortable enough to breed. So these definitely help, the rock piles for sure. And yeah, plants and all that. Give it like a few weeks, maybe a month before you add the shrimp. Now if you already have a dirty tank with dirty aquarium water, you can get it cycled up right away. Then you can make it go quicker than that. So hopefully that helps you. Yeah, that's actually just a bronze. They're natural aquariums. But Kaler's Aquatics, thank you so much for your $20 super chat. I appreciate that, Bob. AKA Kaler's Aquatics. That is awesome of you. Says, just because from a longtime fan. Man, you've been absolutely awesome to me for a long time, Bob. And I can never thank you enough. So have some more thank yous. So thank you, Kaler's Aquatics. You're awesome. Look at these guys. This thing's like a jungle. You can't even see in here anymore. Best way to get rid of green water in a planted aquarium. So the best way to get rid of it, I would say, is to kick off the lights. Well, do your water change, kick off the lights for like 3 days. Do another water change, maybe have it on, light on for a day, like maybe 8 hours. And then kick it off for another 3 days, do a water change, kind of break up its cycle that way. Do deep water change too. Especially if you got a filter, you get away with big water changes. I get away with big water changes with no filters. Sometimes too, if you just leave it, it'll actually go away on its own too, because it'll end up using all the excess nutrients. Like this one will fluctuate from green water. I think even maybe in my fish room tour, which was like maybe a week or 2 ago, this thing was nothing but green water. And I don't think it's had a water change for, I guess, since then. It's been over a week, I know that much. What shrimps you got, foo? So Butch Allen, I've got mostly neocaridinias because I got hard water. Messing with the soft water shrimp becomes more of a hassle through time. So with all these tanks, it's just kind of hard for me to keep up with them. I keep it simple on myself with certain things, especially if I want any sleep throughout the day. Nick Buds, thank you so much again for the support and super chat, throwing down $2. It says stocking suggestion for 90-gallon Great Lake water. So I believe you should have harder water, a little over neutral. Rainbows are always great. Shellies are great. Rice fish are cool. Tetras are cool. Rasboras are cool. All kinds of cichlids. Definitely test your water though. TDS is what I look for more than pH, because pH can be real tricky because it's also per hydrogen. So in like a green water tank, it could read completely different. But with TDS, you can actually get a good pinpoint of the alkalinity and acidity of the water. And if it's 200 is the neutral area. Anything over is considered hard. Anything under is considered more softer. So TDS meter pen, they're only like $10. Definitely one of the must-have kind of tools when keeping aquariums for sure. And holy moly, Ohio Fish Rescue. Brother, throwing down the big $50 super chat. Awesome, Lucas, and for bringing me plants all the time, brother. Well, thank you so much, Ohio Fish Rescue. Big shout out to them guys. Throwing down the $50 super chat. And if you don't know who they are, man, you gotta check them out, because what they do is absolutely awesome work. For all the big fish that are sold in the hobby, a lot of them that shouldn't be sold in the hobby, they end up in people's tanks. They end up not having a good home. And that's when Ohio Fish Rescue steps in and helps try to supply as many fish as they can with a new great home. And there's not really many people out there doing that. So huge shout out to Ohio Fish Rescue and everything they do. So thank you. All right. That is awesome. All right, there's questions. I'm not seeing. Oh, here we go. D. Kirkbride says 125-gallon tank housing Congo tetras, cribs, reed fish, and cyno catfish. And that tank's kind of boring. We'll just look at this. But cyno catfish, what large fish would you recommend that will really stand out but not munch all the plants? So you got Congo tetras, cribs, reed fish, and cyno catfish. You know, there are some big rainbow fish out there. I don't know how big you want to go. Ball of sharks, I know they get really huge though, so even eventually they'll go over through 125 gallon, but they're still cool. I think you could definitely do discus too, because I keep discus and catfish as well with the Congos. So you could do those. And then there are some cichlids out there that can be peaceful in a community tank like that. Especially with that size of a tank being 125 gallon. What is the best floating plant that will lit light through? There's not really a whole lot of floating plants that will lit light through. Like, this is pearlweed and reishi, and there's like no light. But there's still a crypt that grows down there, believe it or not. It's barely growing, but it's growing. Brazilian pennywort, I guess that's not too bad. That's a decent floater. Also, Taiwan lilies, you can float those. Let me see. Actually, they're back where we were. This Rotalia rotundifolia kind of covers everything. But this Taiwan lily here, it's a cool plant. Actually, usually most everybody will grow it in the substrate, let it grow up. Which I don't think I have, yeah, here's one planted. Which it looks like this. So get the stems. Now you can trim it and it'll stay bushy. That's actually what's in my barb tank. But you can see it's letting the light shine through. I actually float that a lot. And it's the same stuff that's in this barb tank. Sorry if I'm moving some of you guys fast, but in real life I move faster than that. Aerodynamic dog. All right, but anyways, yes, Taiwan lilies, that's a great one. Reishi, pearlweed. Pearlweed's okay. You get some light through, but it can get dense over time. Now, frogbit, duckweed, all that stuff, I don't really get into the salvinia just because it gets all over your arm. It gets everywhere. It's kind of annoying. So if you're working with a bunch of tanks, it can become a pain. Like, I used to have more water lettuce, but eventually I just got tired of messing with it and it being in my way. What is in quarantine? You'll actually see here soon what is in quarantine. Even though in the utility quarantine, there's some new stuff in there, which I did show you guys in that swap video. The one that had lots of fish plus on the thumbnail tag. But I will be doing the quarantine section of the fish room tour here soon. Just been needing to get the time. Can I mix one of your female in layers with my fancy guppies? I mean, you can. Or endlers. Yeah, you can try it. TBR3, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. It says amazing fish room. Well, thank you, TBR3. D. Kirkbride says, would you guys choose discus over severums for 125 gallon Congo tetra or Congo tank? Just curious, as I haven't kept either. Wish I could afford super chat, but I really appreciate the advice. Thanks. I'm definitely glad I read your question without you having a super chat. I appreciate everybody who does super chat, but don't feel, I try my best to read everybody's questions. But anyways, enough rambling. On to your question, as far as choosing discus over severums, I would think that would probably be more of a personal choice, for sure. I think it's kind of in the same realm. So whichever you like the best. That's the great thing about keeping the aquariums too, is like you can really pick the, like they have a color for pretty much everything and really pick what you want. Tons of combos, like it's almost endless. Can too bright of light make water wisteria grow slower? Possibly, especially if it's not getting fed enough nutrients. It can actually burn itself out. Many plants can get burnt out from too much light. Now it can also make it grow like stunted. So real powerful light sometimes will make plants grow more compact as well. So if it doesn't have a lot of light, it doesn't have to spread so far to get to the light. So if there's less light, then it's going to be more spread out and stretched out trying to get to the light. The Nice Hack says, will Neocaridina eat eggs from white clouds or CPD? So, I think in my experience they have eaten the CPDs. They don't mess with the rainbow eggs as much, but the CPD eggs, and that could just be a quantity thing. Like the rainbow fish, well, I don't have any in here, but they'll throw out tons and tons of eggs. But the CPD, it's only like 10, 20, if that, if not more, depending on the fish. They can keep up with them. And then, oh, what just happened to my chat? There's another part of that question. Also, I asked you a while back about guppy temperatures. You said you keep them unheated. If I went under 70, would they be fine? They would be okay. I don't know if it would be preferred, but they would be okay for a while. I want to go under 68, but they'll be all right. Lucas, you ever consider reconstructing your lights to all LED strips for dimming and brightness? I did for like my newer stands, like doing my own custom LEDs with the big strips. I have thought about that, so that may happen. LRB Aquatics, just curious, are you against hybrids? So it depends. Like guppies, of course, it's hard to be against those, but when it comes to rainbow fish and stuff, it's a little different story. Just because there's many strains out there that are absolutely gorgeous, so you don't really need many hybrids. And I think conservation of these natural fish is kind of prioritizes the sport of husbandry as far as creation. And I think that's kind of like where, if you want to do that sort of thing, maybe do guppies or something. Now I know in cichlids they do it a lot. I don't do a whole lot of cichlids, so. D says, do you use any controller for your aquariums? So I don't really use any controller for my aquariums or anything technology-wise. The most technological thing I have in my aquarium are these two power heads. Besides that, everything else is like nothing. Like no airline, nothing. Those are nothing, no airline. No airlines, nothing. But I do have like a remote for my RO system, so when I want to add water. Then I also got a remote for my drainage system, so I can just pump stuff out. Lucas, you ever consider upgrading your lights? So some of them do need upgraded because, I mean, it's been years. And some of them are losing their punch. But then that gets expensive. Like I don't make any money doing this. I literally just keep throwing money at it. Just because that's just what happens with the fish room. So I don't know. It will come a time where I'm really gonna have to hammer that down, redoing some of the lights and stuff. Trish KCMO, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, loved meeting you at Aquashella. Problem with gnats in aquarium room from plants we brought in. Any ideas? I would say just give it some time. Eventually those life cycles of the gnats may end up like petering out or dying out. I don't know how many fish you have in your fish room, but they do make a good food supply for your fish. You can hang like the strips, like those fly strips they have, the sticky, tacky fly strips. I know some people use, what is this? Some kind of oil or like vegetable oil in a jar, and they'll go in there and they kind of drown themselves. Kind of mean, but I mean, I've had it happen where I'll get like some kind of like gnats or something that come from outside or some kind of like fly or whatever. And they're just bugs. Just becomes food. It's kind of a seasonal thing too. Usually after fall, like most bugs are trying to go indoors though, where it's warm. What's that red rainbow fish in the bottom tank? So the red rainbow fish in the bottom tank, that's a Glossolapius dorothei. So there's one of them. And there's the other. Those are actually green. I'm not seeing any in here. I do got a pair at least in the other room. Whoa, it's almost been an hour already. It's been quick. That'll be Aquatics. Have you ever worked with adding North American leaf litter and cones to tanks to naturally tint water and raise tannins? So, I have outside during the fall. Every fall, a ton of maple leaves and other stuff falls into my ponds, and they'll turn it into tea, like pretty much overnight. And sometimes it gets really thick. And now I've never had any issues with any of the fish, even with my guppies, even with breeding my guppies. Now the cones, just make sure that there's not any like tars or resins. If you are using any kind of cones or driftwood, pine needles definitely probably aren't preferred, but I don't think they're a big issue. They can make things tannin too. Oh, cool. The remote for the RO, is it just a solenoid remote? No, actually it's to like a plug-in. So I just have like I had to buy a special remote outlet. So it just goes to that outlet. And then I had the RO plugged in. So whenever I hit it, it just turns the power on to it instead. Yeah, oak leaves are great. Where's Oddball Aquatics? She is, I think she's working today. I think she works Fridays at Chewy. She's got another job at Chewy. She's grinding real hard right now to better her life and her family's. This is a bright one, an Iranian red. So no, I don't have any of those. That's a Millennium Orange Albino Rainbow Fish, that bright orange one. Which the Iranians are more metallic red. The females to those are also greenish. They're kind of more of a copper color. And yes, those are gold barbs. Some big old gold barbs. There's a ton of fish in this. Synodontis cats. There's a Gardner-eyed killifish over there. There's a drake fin barb right in the middle. A goofy female guppy. Zigzag. Oh, there's that killifish. Pretty though. They like the rocks. Nice little rock pile. But that tank really is not that bright in real life. Like, it's probably like half that bright in real life. Who is Chewy? Think I spelled it wrong. It is Chewy, like chewing food. Chewy. Goofy the guppy. Lucas Bretz, have you been successful treating camellanus worms? So, luckily I haven't really had to deal with those. I think people usually use fenbendazole or something like that. Or no, levomasol. That's what they usually use for the camellanus worms. But I haven't had to deal with it myself. Thank God. Tiffany White, great to see you in here. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Thanks for the lovely dwarf neon rainbows. They have a lot of color for the small size. I look forward to watching them grow. Well, thank you, Tiffany White, for your support and your order. I hope everything's going good with you. Hope you're selling them houses. And yeah, wait till they get bigger, because those things will really, really pop. That's definitely one of my favorite fish. And Papa Shrimp Aquatics, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It says buffering, oh no. It says gotta run, have a great weekend, and happy Friday night Q&A with LRB. Well, thank you, Papa Shrimp. Always great to see you in here too. Thank you for popping in and for your support. I appreciate you big time. You guys are absolutely awesome. All right, we are over the hour mark. Have you got the mascara barbs to spawn? So yes, I have gotten them to spawn. Actually, I've got babies of theirs in the 240 over here, which we can maybe see, but with that green water, it's kind of hard to see. They're not quite babies anymore, but I will probably take them out and breed them again. And I actually need to get some of these to them. A guy named Don DeMacos. He lives close to here, and he's been waiting for them. I just gotta catch them. They're super fast. They're great at eating algae too. But yes, I have bred them, and I do want to do that again, just because I know that there's not a whole lot of them out there, and I know they're really hard to get. All right, I'm gonna hop off here. I guess we can throw a little food at these guys. Sorry if I missed your guys' questions. If you ever clean the light bulbs that lose their punch? No, not really. I probably should, but I haven't. All right, we'll feed them some food, but I can't answer questions. We'll see. I say that until I see a question. Then I'm like, oh, I answer it anyways. Wait, I need more food. This stuff is dusty. Hate when you get a can of granules and it's like half dust and half granules. We gotta get them in the mood first. The being dustier gives them more stuff to chase. Peace. All right, later everybody that's popping out. For those who like to see fish eat, here you go. I like to watch fish eat. That's what I'm gonna do right after I get off of here. Let's feed everybody. Somebody mentioned me maybe doing a video of me feeding my whole fish room and going just through the whole thing. May end up doing that. Yeah, this stuff is all dusty. All right, let's feed these guys. Why are they splashing me? Nyum, nyum, nyum. Fast fish. A little bit fast. I always put some on the other side too. That way the slower ones can get something to eat. I don't know if you guys can hear them hitting. These guys are forever hungry. Yeah, they slammed the food hard. Man, I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you probably can't see. Yeah, you can. How dusty that is. I gotta get a new can. Oh, well. We got some feeding on here. All right, I'm gonna hop off here, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this Friday Night Live Q&A. I did. It's always great hanging out with you guys. Even if I'm just answering questions, I get to know more about you guys. All you guys who are supporting me, oh my God, you guys are amazing. Like I said, I cannot thank you enough. So thank you. And I'm not saying just super chats either. Even with the thumbs up, my Patreons, my members, big shout out to you guys. You guys are probably the most patient and supportive out of all of them, because I'm not that great with my Patreon account. But your support is definitely appreciated, and it does go a long way with keeping this fish room going and trying to move to the next steps and just getting videos and content and all that stuff. So thank you all for hanging out, for watching, subscribing, liking, all that stuff. Till next time, everybody, peace. Have a great one.